Hello, today's January 29th, 2025, and today I'm going to be going over my 2026 Senate elections. I haven't made a video in a while, so if you're new to this channel, in 2020 I got all 50 states right in the presidential election. I got all governor seats right. I got the House right. I didn't do great with the Senate, but in 2021 I got all governor seats right. In 2022 I got all but one Senate and governor seat right. I also got the House correct in 2022. I said Republicans would narrowly flip it. And then in 2023, I also got all governor seats right. In 2024, I did the same. I got all but one Senate seat right, but I didn't do great with the presidential election, which is obviously the most important thing. So I'm trying to rebuild the legacy that I have had as still technically the best prediction YouTuber on YouTube. So I'm going to just try and start this new year with a banger, obviously. I'm going to do great. Promise. All right. So, if you're new to this channel, the way I do characteristics is safe would be 15 points or more of a win. Likely would be 7 to 14.9% of a win. Lean would be 2 to 6.9% of a win. And tilt would be under 2 points. So if you win by 1.9, it'd be a tilt win. I do expect this to be a blue wave year. I'm not sure how statewide election results kind of usually correlate with like special election results, how those usually correlate with the actual election. I know there's lower turnout, which means Democrats probably do better, at least in these days, because a lot of uneducated voters don't vote on the smaller state level. Last night, Democrats flipped a district in Iowa by 20 points compared to 2024, just a couple months ago. And so you're kind of seeing that in a lot of areas, as well as Minnesota. There's a special election in Minnesota where that same exact thing happened, where Democrats did around 15 points better than they did in November in that specific district for that race. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see just how 1 week of the Trump presidency is already affecting favorabilities. Donald Trump's favorability is already, not his favorability, his approval's already under 50% in most of the polls, or that's arguable, but it's definitely going down already. Kind of under fire for a lot of things, and I did say I wanted to make a news kind of thing at one point, so I think that's pretty interesting. I think there's two things that he did which I thought was pretty interesting that I would love to make videos on individually. One was him saying he'd bring back the I forgot what it was called, but it was an act in 1798. That would let him deport citizens. So I think that's a pretty interesting one. I'm probably going to make a video on that. And then I'm probably going to make a video it's mostly a funny video, because technically his executive order about his executive order making only two genders recognized in the government, the way they worded it, technically everyone in the United States is a female because of the way they worded it. So I think it's pretty interesting, because I'm going to love to go over the incompetence of that. But yeah, okay, I'm going to get to the predictions now. I just wanted to note what I had in mind for the future. My next video will likely be governor predictions. And then we'll move on to probably not a house prediction, maybe a house prediction. I do those like 3 times every cycle, so very little do I do those. But yeah. Alright, starting with the safe Democratic states. For the Senate, I'm going to go with Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Delaware, Oregon, Colorado. We're gonna go with Illinois. That's Susan Collins' seat, right? So no. This should be the repeat of the 2020 elections, I think. So I think that that should be it for Democrat safe seats. That gets them to 40. And again, we know Republicans are kind of going to win the Senate no matter what. Democrats losing Pennsylvania kind of made everything impossible for this year. Democrats would need one of the biggest blue waves of all time, and not that it's not on track for that. Obviously, if they're flipping states by 20% from 3 months ago, if they're shifting areas 15 to 20 points to the left, then they're going to be fine. But I don't see that happening all over the place, and I think that was a product of lower turnout. I think Republicans will still win South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia. This is Lindsey Graham. Is this Tim? I think this is Lindsey Graham. If this is Tim Scott, I'm sorry. I think this is Lindsey Graham. If it's Lindsey Graham, I'm making it a likely. But if it's Tim Scott, just replace it with safe, okay? Florida was likely going to be a safe one. Louisiana, the way they do their elections, Democrats aren't going to win here for, it's like 20 plus years. It doesn't really, it wasn't really expected. Iowa, I'm going to say is going to be a safe state for Republicans. And then we're seeing in 2026, wow, okay, I'm starting to forget some of the names here. Okay. So these are my safe Republican seats. Obviously, they're probably definitely going to win Mississippi. They're probably definitely going to win Ohio, Kansas, Nebraska, Texas, Montana. But again, like I said, it doesn't go under my category of safe seats. Now we're going to get on to the likely seats. Minnesota should be likely. Michigan is going to be pretty interesting. I'm not going to put it as likely. I'm going to put it as lean for this video. But Gary Peters, who was trying to be vice president just a couple months ago, or like, I don't know, in August or whatever, he was trying to say that he wanted to be vice president, is now not running for re-election in 2026 in a really important race for Democrats, because Democrats can't really afford to lose any more seats. They are likely going to run Pete Buttigieg. He's already expressed interest within an hour of Gary Peters saying he wasn't going to run again. Gretchen Whitmer said she was not going to run for the seat. I think Pete Buttigieg will run, and if Pete Buttigieg does run, then he could win by up to like 12 points. I don't think he will win by that much, but I think he will definitely win that seat. Other likely seat, Virginia, New Jersey, New Hampshire. Let's go New Mexico. And here it's like, okay, Democrats can't lose that many seats all of a sudden because they're already at 46. They have 47. So it's not over here. But again, look at the seats that are up. Republicans could clear all of these and still gain a seat through Georgia. I don't see that happening. But, again, Republicans are winning Montana. They're winning Nebraska. They're winning Kansas. They're winning Missouri. Mississippi, my bad. They're probably going to win Texas by a likely amount. They could do lean, but we saw how Trump shifted states that much. And so even if there is a massive blue wave, I think it just brings Texas back to what it's been. That's definitely up for debate for a lot of people. I'm going to put Ohio as likely as well. Actually, we're going to make Ohio safe. Because if I'm not mistaken, this is the senator. And I know I don't want to sound like an idiot saying, oh, I know I know what I'm predicting these as, but I don't know the senators. I do know the senator. I'm just trying to think of his name. So I'm really sorry if I'm not right. I think it's oh, that's why I don't know. I just looked it up because Marino was the one that was just elected, but the other one replaced Vance. That's why I didn't know. It's Husted. Husted is going to replace, I believe it's Husted, that's going to replace J.D. Vance. So he's going to be running for, because that was a special election last time. All right, that makes more sense to me. Husted, I will say he wins by a likely amount then. He has not won an election yet. So that puts Republicans at 50. So no matter what, they have the Senate control to at least 2028. Unless some crazy stuff happens. But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of not possible. Democrats could clear all of these seats left and still lose the Senate, which means that Democrats should probably focus on just these few states over here. They should not focus on putting money in taking the Senate. They're not going to take the Senate. They're not taking Texas as much as they might want to. They could in like 10 years from now, but they're not winning Texas. So, and then you got a huge problem down here in Georgia. Brian Kemp is thinking about running for Senate in Georgia. Against all other opponents, Ossoff is up double digits, but against Brian Kemp, he's down 5 to 8. If Brian Kemp runs, he will likely win by like a amount. I don't have Brian Kemp running. I don't think Brian Kemp will run. And I think in a blue wave year, even if Brian Kemp did run, Ossoff could still win close to his original amount. I have Ossoff winning by a lean amount. I have stated in a previous video that I would want him to run for president. I do love Jon Ossoff as a Democrat. I do think he's someone who could run the country very efficiently. I think Jon Ossoff would be Pretty great president. But I said that on his channel a lot. People get mad at that. I don't know. I just like him. So, it's not really a bias, I don't think, for this. I do think that he speaks to the people a lot more than, you know, MAGA, who only voted for Brian Kemp because they didn't want to lose the seat. So, I don't see. It's going to be like how Hogan ran in Maryland, in my home state. Hogan ran here. People were like, oh, he has a real good chance to win here. The polls showed that it was closer than it was, and then polls actually had him up at one point. But then, you know, you start running ads that says, oh, he's actually not a moderate. He's an actual Republican, and provides real examples that he's actually a Republican. Then, yeah, it's not really going to help your case. That's kind of what they did with the guy who was running in my district that I met, Neil Parrott. He was an awful person. And just by meeting him, I didn't think he was all that awful. Then I find out that this guy was trying to tattoo babies who were born with HIV and not let the mothers take them home. So, yeah, I found that pretty interesting. So, yeah, always do your research in who you think might be a moderate or not. I don't know. But I'm getting off track here. Here's two more things. Susan Collins is running for re-election. This is a really important race because it is a Democratic state. Democrats have won here in basically every statewide election for years besides Susan Collins. I'm talking like 10 years besides Susan Collins. And she did win by a lot in 2020. I have the seat flipping by a little bit. I believe she is running for re-election. But I think it's going to come down to Democrats are going to point out that this woman has no self-respect. I mean, she almost voted to confirm Pete Hegseth. That probably would have been it for her. I think Maine's one of those states where they're going to kind of see that Susan Collins is not really on their side. And that kind of sounds, I don't want to say it like that, because that sounds like them saying rhino or whatever. I don't think she's really, she pretends to be the middle, but she's not actually middle. And not that many people do that. Lisa Murkowski is actually in the middle. Susan Collins is not. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm not into Maine politics, but as far as I'm concerned, Susan Collins is definitely going to lose her race. I think a lot of Democrats have to vote for Susan Collins for her to win, and I think they kind of know that they really need the Senate majority by 2028 if a president's elected. So they're probably going to do everything they can to make sure Susan Collins is not elected again. Because, again, Democrats were the main reason Susan Collins won her election in 2020. And that is the first flip of this blue wave election night. Which, again, you can say blue wave. That doesn't mean that the Senate flips. I think it is a blue wave, but I still think Republicans are going to win this Senate. But another seat, I think Democrats are going to flip North Carolina. Maybe, let's say, 2.7 points. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who to run here. Roy Cooper. It seems like they're going to be running against either Tom Tillis or Laura Trump. If this is a blue wave year, no one's going to want to have anything to do with the Trump name in a Trump midterm. We saw how 2018 went. And if this is Tom Tillis, Republicans don't like him. It's a divided primary that'll probably be lower turnout. It might be something like a small version of the Mark Robinson situation. I think Democrats have a really good chance to flip this seat on election night in 2026, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, I don't think this is going to be a permanent red seat. I don't think this shows any shifts in North Carolina. I just think it's a matter of depends who the Democrats run here. If they run Roy Cooper, I think they could win by double digits. And my last seat is going to be Republicans winning here. I'm not sure which one this is, but either way, I think it's Lisa Murkowski. I apologize if it's not. I think it's actually I think it's the guy, actually. Again, I'm sorry, I'm bad on names. I haven't thought about politics in a little bit. I'm kind of cleansing myself right now, but I did want to drop a prediction video. I'm really close to 1,000 subscribers, so definitely trying to reach that soon on my main channel. And if this is posted on my alternate channel, then let's hit 500. But yeah, this is my current prediction. I don't expect this to change much throughout the election. If this does change, it'll probably be Maine, depending on how polls and how the midterms are looking to be. And then it'll also be Georgia that could also change depending on who's running here. And also, again, it's kind of the same scenario where it's a moderate Republican that outdoes Trump, but does being moderate in such an anti-Republican year matter? And I think the answer would be maybe not. I think I give both these candidates an 80% chance of winning if they ran today, but we'll see. I think John Ossoff also luckily has a great approval, so we'll see. We'll see how it happens. And I'm sorry for yapping a little bit this video. I haven't really done any prediction videos in a while. But I know I keep saying in every video, I plan to drop more. I'm definitely not done videos. I've been really busy. I just got my license. I've been out a lot more than I have been. And I'm trying to earn some money. And college just started back up. So I have a lot to do. But it's on these moments, on these kind of days like today, where I thought, let's just drop a video. And I really wanted to drop another one. So as of right now, this is my predictions. Next video, probably be a governor video. And then, like I said in the last video, I was planning on doing one about what candidates I think should run. And, I mean, obviously, I think I did the Dem one. But we'll see how the Republican video would go. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys a different day.